Man, I'm nervous. Hey guys, my name is Damon. A lot of people know me as Nomad, and I want to welcome you guys to probably my YouTube channel, where this is probably going to go first of all. But I want to welcome you guys to Geekin Out, right? Geeking Out is something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. But before we get into that, I do just want to, set the scene. This isn't going to be a super stylized or, fully edited video or anything like that. We're just going to keep it real casual. But yeah, this is probably the first time that you're going to see me on this platform, talking about this platform. And I want to give you guys a bit of an introduction to who I am, what this is, and why I'm doing it. So, first things first, it is Monday. It's the 27th of July when I'm filming this. It's 6:17 a.m. in the morning. The reason why is because I just finished a paper run, which is something I believe this might be the last full week that I do of that paper run, because I'm starting a job pretty soon. But anyway, I'm oversharing. Let me overshare some more. So this is the official start of Geeking Out. And a quick personal intro to who I am. My name is Damon Paraha. I'm probably better known as Nomad or Nomad 222. I'm a father of four. My partner and I are based in Melbourne, Australia. My partner and I and our family. I've been making music since 2016. And it streams on all platforms. If you ever want to check it out, just search up Nomad 222 on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. But yeah, I'm in a different sort of period in my life. I've kind of taken a step back from music, from creating music under that alias Nomad 222. But what Geeking Out is basically a space for me to talk about everything that I'm a fan of, or just everything that I'm straight up obsessed with. Some examples off the top of my head would be the MCU, even the DCU, Star Wars, Fortnite, Minecraft, WWE, NBA, music of all genres, mainly hip hop, of course, because that's the kind of music that I make. But also, I'm getting really into pop music right now, and like what makes a song popular on the radio today compared to the past decade, things like that. So that's kind of the in-depth way of like how I like to think of things and how obsessed I can get with things, like just yeah. Anyway, I'm not in the business of making polished critic stuff. I just wanted a space where I can give my perspective, give my thoughts, talk about things that genuinely excite me, and also hopefully find a community of like-minded individuals, because my interests are so vast and diverse, and I do get overly obsessed with things. I do find myself having conversations with people who don't quite get it, if that makes sense. Like especially to the depth of I'll use the MCU as an example. Like ever since the first Iron Man came out in 2008, I've deep dived into the MCU, and obviously the MCU is an adaptation of Marvel Comics and the universe that they've built in those comic books. But the MCU itself has created its own legacy and its own Easter eggs, gems, and callbacks and things like that. And these are things that I take great pride in being able to recall, and that I overly obsess over. So when I've had these conversations with people in the past, it's been it's always been funny, because there's kind of a ceiling to what majority of people or I guess there's the surface level things, and I feel like I kind of see the whole iceberg. I feel like I'm starting to sound a little bit pretentious in saying that, but that's not, it's not to say that oh, I'm a bigger fan of this than you are. It's more so the fact that I believe that, I kind of, I have an awareness to, where majority of people lie when it comes to that thing. So I guess when I say that I'm looking for community, I'm looking for like-minded people who, really dig into this stuff, because I'm the kind of person that, like, when I get obsessed with something, I'm listening to podcasts like 24/7, or, deep dive videos and things like that to like immerse myself even further into the lore of whatever it is that I'm currently obsessed with. Yeah. So anyway, that's again what this space is, why I've created Geekin Out. And just to give you a bit more context to the backstory of this thing, like, I've had the idea for this for years. Obviously, I brought up 2008 Iron Man. I became a real big fan. In that year as well, The Dark Knight came out, to one of the greatest films of all time, regardless of genre, regardless of it being a superhero film. I really think that's some of Christopher Nolan's best work, and some of the best work Hollywood has ever produced. Prior to that, I grew up in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Raimi Spider-Man, X-Men, Blade sort of era, when superhero films were, just starting to become blockbusters in Hollywood. I grew up during the prequel era of Star Wars, which at the time, older fans made you feel like clowns for for enjoying, those performances. And now we're kind of living through this Renaissance era of, like, everyone loves Hayden Christensen, everyone loves Ewan McGregor and everything like that. So yeah, I've had this. I've been obsessed with geek culture for years. I still remember the day that my dad picked up the PlayStation 2. It was like, the big bulky one, arguably the best one of all the models that the PlayStation 2 produced. I remember growing up playing GTA San Andreas. Yeah, things like that. But way back in 2015, 2016 ish, like after I'd graduated school, I was running a Facebook page called I'm a Marvel Fan. We didn't have a huge following or anything like that, but I just like posting about the MCU updates, talking about, it was around that time when, Daredevil was first coming out, and we were hearing about Charlie Cox. And, I remember posting about the entire pre-production going into that, as well as Avengers Age of Ultron. So it was around that time where, like, I was just keeping up to date, talking about Iron Fist. I'd post like quick reviews and things like that on Facebook. It fizzled out because I started to delve more into music and wanted to focus my efforts there, as well as I was attending school at the time, and tertiary education and things like that. So yeah, it fizzled out. I put it on pause for a little bit, but the bigger idea of geeking out and expanding to talk about more pop culture, not just the MCU and things like that, had always been in the back of my mind. And I kept telling myself that I was going to launch it, that I was going to do this, I was going to start the channel and everything like that. And I still remember walking out of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, for example, Volume 3. And, me and my partner, we talked about it. We were like, raving about it, because I felt like I hadn't been excited for the MCU in quite a while since Endgame. Like most people, had a bit of Marvel MCU fatigue and things like that. But I remember having a really big conversation about it, falling back in love with the MCU, going home. I wrote a full review, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to launch it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make this thing come true. And then somehow 3 years just disappeared. All of a sudden it's 2026, right? So yeah, life kept happening, things kept happening. But the idea's always been in the back of my mind. Now, on a more real note, I do want to say that the past 12 months has been especially heavy, and maybe I'll get into that a little bit more, but just to summarize a lot of trauma, do a summary of a trauma dump. My family, we've dealt with robberies, we've dealt with eviction, we've dealt with unemployment, and there's multiple deaths in our families that, we're still grieving to this day. And there's nothing quite like mourning to really give you that perspective. And, you know, I say all that because it really drove home that tomorrow is never promised. That there's never going to be a perfect time to, you know, start something like this, or to put yourself out there to start something, especially when you're in a comfortable position and you have your head down. You're just like, I'm going to work, I'm going to come home, and, you know, we're just going to work, pay bills, sleep, repeat, that sort of thing, right? There's no perfect moment. There's only this moment and what you decide to do with it. And so I want my kids to grow up seeing their dad actually live the way that he wants to live, chasing things that light him up instead of waiting for the stars to align. Which I feel like I'd done for quite some time, and it used to be, you know, I want my kids to see me, you know, pursue music. The thing about music, you know, when you're chasing it, is that it's so easy for that to be tainted by the business side of things. Music in itself, art in itself, is so beautiful and so pure. But when you mix the business side of things into it, and you get bogged down by marketing and you know, commercialization and things like that, that's when it starts to feel like it's taking a toll on your passion for it. So that's kind of why I stepped away from music a little bit. With everything that's going on in my personal life, I needed to take a step back and say, you know, I need to get my finances right. I need to spend more time with my family. I need to make sure that they're all feeling secure. My kids are growing up. Their emotions are getting more complex, things like that. So I need to be around there to navigate that. And also feel like I just didn't like who I was becoming as a man, as a father, as a partner, when I was dealing with my own like self-doubt and imposter syndrome and things like that. So anyway, I know that still ended up being a lot. Yeah, so I've turned to creating this, and you know, what you can expect is that YouTube is probably going to be the main hub for everything that I'm doing with Geekin Out. Most of what I'll do is going to be like podcast style videos, kind of like this, me talking through reviews, thoughts, deep dives, whatever I'm into. I'm also very excited to start my live streaming gameplay. You know, my journey as a live streamer, playing games on Twitch and TikTok. And I want to shout out my sister-in-law, Paula, who actually inspired this, because she just got into live streaming Fortnite on TikTok and is doing really well. Go and follow her on TikTok. I also want to shout out my cousin, Zeldris Reflex, who started live streaming on Twitch. And yeah, just seeing those two go for it and, you know, be really, I guess it came from, I feel like it came from a really pure place where they just, you know, they were playing games and they thought, you know, why not just give it a try? I see other people doing it. And, you know, I really wish the best for them. Go follow them, do whatever you have to do to support those guys, because they're doing really well. But those guys have really inspired me to start streaming gameplay. So yeah, for short form and quick hot takes, you'll probably see me on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, that sort of thing. I'm not going to force like a strict schedule or anything. You know, I got 4 kids under the age of 10 and a 9 to 5 as well. So life can be a bit unpredictable, but I will say, like, you know, if there's something that happened on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown that I really want to talk about, I'll probably jump on. You know, after a long day, if I jump on Fortnite with my partner T, we'll probably live stream the Fortnite matches, whatever we do, unless I get too many, unless I lose too many matches and then I rage quit, you know. Not sure. Yeah. If I just got home from watching Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I'm gonna go see on Friday night with the boys and T, You know, I'm probably gonna want to film a commentary while it's still fresh, or you know, I might do a review a couple days after. We'll see what happens. But when the moment hits, I'll probably be here, geeking out. So yeah, I'll keep it there. I'll keep it as short as possible. Let me be honest. It's just hit the 15-minute mark. This is short for me. But yeah, the rest of my content is probably going to be a bit, you know, a bit more in depth, a bit longer. But welcome to Geeking Out. I appreciate you for joining us. I'm going to start, you know, Discord server. I've got a Discord server. I just got to, you know, figure things out. If you want to join, leave a comment. We'll talk more about it in the comments and things like that. Follow me on Instagram, Geeking Out _WM. I also have my own profile. It's GO_Nomad, NOMAD. Same thing on TikTok. And yeah, I'll leave links and everything like that. But yeah, I appreciate you for watching this video. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. It already means a lot. Subscribe, follow, all that usual stuff. I'm Nomad, and can't wait to continue down this path. But yeah, welcome to Geeking Out. I appreciate you.